Hey guys, this is Jamie. So I'm with a new microphone, so I hope my audio is even better. So yeah, anyway, today I want to talk about Brazil and my specifically my experience with it, obviously as an out trans man there. And I do have to say that obviously I do have a different sort of relationship with Brazil because I've been to Brazil, I don't even know how many times by now. And obviously, my partner is Brazilian, and I do have a very good relationship with my in-laws and with sort of the in-law extended family as well. So that's kind of to preface everything. And also, I do have to say that my experience doesn't mean that someone else's experience isn't valid because mine is different or someone else's experience validates mine because obviously everyone has a different sort of family and sort of way people react to it. So without further ado, let's talk about Brazil. I do have to preface that obviously the situation in Brazil is really worrisome. The political situation, the alt-right is not good, and it does create a lot of tension regardless on which political side you're on. And obviously, it is very tense. And when I think about Brazil, it sort of reminds me like how it was in Ukraine, like before the Orange Revolution, when people would sort of pretty much fight. And there was even this ongoing joke of like, if you'd mention like Yushchenko, people would start fighting in the next 3 seconds over a dinner table. It's pretty much the same thing. Like if anyone mentions Bolsonaro or Lula, and it is very tense. So you have kind of like generations like earlier than the 70s are very sort of prone to vote Bolsonaro, as it doesn't make everyone who votes Bolsonaro sort of ignorant because that is not the case. That's the sort of the weird part. If we sort of put things in a sort of political vacuum, because obviously we tend to associate, and I myself, like, I'm very left leaning. So obviously, it is a weird situation where I sort of see people who have predominantly voted right, but they don't sort of fall like into like some neo-Nazi pipeline, like my sister did or my family did. So you kind of get to see something else. And that is, I guess, one of the things that really kind of surprised me about Brazil was the fact that I saw a lot of people, regardless of who they were voting for, to sort of be open and be acceptive and accepting of gay trans people. And I do understand the sort of like to be a bit more personal. Like my partner's family, there's a lot of queer people, and obviously when I came out, my in-laws were very, very supportive, and everyone kind of just went off. And like I have a lot to thank like for my mom-in-law sort of being like, "This is Jamie," and like it is what it is, and everyone sort of accepted it. And when I traveled there, no one really has any sort of slip ups. Everyone made sure, and like I even heard like a bit behind the scenes that people were making sure that they would not slip up. And people hadn't seen me in a while. So before I went there, I was more in the closet. I was nervous about my parents. My parents weren't reacting well. So I was nervous about having two families sort of collapse from talking it to us. And happily enough, I have to say that I am very welcome. I am very loved. And my transness is not an issue, neither is sort of the gay relationship between me and like my partner. So I do have to say that I am very, very lucky in that aspect because obviously a lot of gay and trans people do not get that from their in-laws very often. And I did see a lot of trans, a lot of gender non-conforming, a lot of queer people, more also like in different jobs. I feel people are way more open about it, and you can kind of see it because I remember like when I first came to Brazil, it still felt more of a mask for mask sort of hidden masculinity sort of hellhole. in a way that you just had to be like one way for a man, and Brazil still is that in a lot of aspects. And I still sort of like tone it down, like I didn't wear a Barbie shirt there. Like I pretty much like thought, okay, I need to wear this thing which is more tame, or like I'd wear this button up, or like when it came to makeup I just wear like nude tones if I would wear makeup. But in general it's more of a men dress like that rather than people be openly hateful as they used to be, because again the experience before was absolutely different, the sort of the idea of it. And obviously there is more visibility, people sort of come out more, and I'm not saying that the crimes decrease tremendously, and I don't want to sugarcoat it, but I do have to say that there is more awareness, there is more openness. And yes, unfortunately, homophobia and transphobia will still exist regardless of how I'm painting Brazil as this good new place now. But it is much more less than what I experienced. And like obviously I've heard different remarks, like because I met my partner like over 15 years ago at this point, and it was completely different in the beginning. And not to sort of criticize anyone, because everyone needs sort of like a learning curve and everything, and sort of I needed to understand that it's safe to come out. My partner needed to sort of find his own footing and stuff like that. And I honestly expected Brazil to be way worse. And sort of like by talking to people, I can see that people are more open. People are very worried of what is happening politically. Sort of where is Brazil gonna go? What is gonna happen about the presidential elections? But it doesn't feel as much as sort of intertwined as it does elsewhere, like in the US, sort of where trans rights are as interwoven into like US politics. That's the thing. And I don't want to say that, how to put this, the right won't do something stupid or things can get fucked up. But I do have to sort of try and detach myself from the fact that politics are politics with their own stupidity and their own faults. But people are people. If you're discussing politics with someone, you will be discussing politics. And yes, people will sort of take that into a side or like argue, but it won't be who you are who people will have an issue with. It will be the politics that you have that the people will have an issue with. So politics kind of takes that priority. And while it is absolutely insane that Brazil is going weird with politics, it is good that people will have more issues with you liking or not liking a politician, just like nearly sort of like football fanaticism, you know? So it is sobering in a good way to see that people are accepting. And also kind of sad in a way, obviously, because I don't have contacts with my relatives. And my relatives went into like Z or Nazi or bizarre pipelines, you know? So kind of to see people of different sort of political opinions, no matter if I agree or not, sort of accept me and sort of understand, yeah, like I'm family, and make sure to show me that I'm family is a very touching experience, and I'm very thankful. And it is very sweet. So yeah. And about the cities, I was in Fortaleza, Rio, Brasilia, and I visited different cities throughout. But those were the main ones. And I did see a lot of queer people in general. I did see queer couples, which is not something I used to see before when I'd go to Brazil. So maybe like the time before this one, I would see like gay couples every once in a while, maybe like one in Brasilia, and they would like very try to be discreet about it. Now I can see a bit more PDA, way more queer people, way more queer couples. And sure, like I still feel like I need to tone things down. I still try not to do PDA with my partner, but it is way safer and it is really nice to see that. And yeah, but I didn't go to like any gay pride or any gay places because I was mostly around like family or like hanging out in cities. But I do have to say, it was a weird experience to sort of see that everyone kind of lives by themselves. There's no like out in the streets, which was really bizarre. And I maybe it's because like of the social class, but it's really bizarre to see people way more isolated than here in Portugal. But I guess that's also like a country thing. So yeah. So yeah, I hope that kind of summarized it well enough, and I hope I sort of explained well enough the political sort of family aspects, and I also like met some people like who are friends of mine and Lucas's, or like when I was there like job wise for some stuff, sort of like in psychology and stuff that I've been doing as well. So I was kind of really well received everywhere, so I can't complain. So yeah, so what I want to say is Brazil is growing really well in sort of acceptance, in my opinion, even though it has a lot of things to work on. But coming from a very sort of harsh Eastern European background, which has absolutely no rights, Brazil is going nicely. But this is my own privileged experience. Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much if you liked it. If you have any specific questions about Brazil or about Portugal, I do obviously see that people sort of research from my videos, but I am open to sort of answering more detailed questions if anyone has any, or if it's in Portuguese, feel free as well. I'm obviously like a fluent Portuguese speaker by now, and obviously like I finished university and everything, and yeah. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate all the love I've been getting. I'm sorry I've been trying to sort of have more of a strict schedule, but I've been quite tired, and also like winter is quite sluggish. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please feel free to give it a like. If you want to discuss Brazil with someone, sends this as an icebreaker to someone. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoy it. And please, if you have any questions about Brazil or Portugal, I do feel like it's an experience that not a lot of people can sort of explain specifically in the English language. And also, if there's a need for, like a foreigner explaining something about Brazil or Portugal, I'm more than happy to explain in Portuguese as well. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you.